Let's look at the game of Harikrishna. He was playing with the white pieces and he unleashed an amazing attack. So here's the game. Harikrishna here is white. His opponent played the move knight a8. And what did Harikrishna do here? Try to think, pause the video and find the best move for white. Well, white here just smashed through the defenses. Bishop takes h6, g takes h6, and now came knight f6 check. Now, if the king goes to h8, there are many ways to win, but the most beautiful is to take the rook, and queen b1 with a mate on h7 that is unstoppable. In the game, the opponent played king g7 here, but Harikrishna went in with a check, king here, queen f4, king g7, and now you want these two squares to move your queen inside, but it wasn't happening, and Harikrishna found this move, bishop takes d5, and after this it was curtains. There are a few more moves that were played, but essentially Harikrishna managed to win because let's say if you take, there's a check here, rook under pressure, but mainly you got queen f5 and there is a mate on h7. So with this, Harikrishna led from the front. Arjun Erigaisi, little bit wobbly today, but he also won his game. Shashi Kiran, and with it, rock solid. This is what you expect from the A team. Let's go to the women's section. We were facing England today, and again a 3-1 victory. Harika here drew her game, but what an entry that was. She is 8 months pregnant, and she played here. She was sitting here and fought really hard. She was better against Jovanka Huska, but in the end the game was drawn. Vaishali showing that she is now a dependable force. She won her game with black pieces against Toma Katarzyna. Tanya Sachdev drew her game. She was totally winning. She played beautifully. But our game of the day from this team comes from the game of Bhakti Kulkarni. Now, Bhakti Kulkarni was unbelievable today. You know, this is her position. This was her move here. She's white. She pushes her pawn to h4. I don't know what went into her. She just pushed this, and when her opponent took here, all of a sudden she realized that she's lost. Why? Because if you take back, which is the most normal move, what does black do? Try to think, pause the video, beautiful move here. Exactly. Knight takes d4, c takes d4, and queen takes d4 with a double attack on both the bishops. So, Bhakti couldn't do this. So what did she do after c takes d4? She took on c6, b takes c6, and now she took e takes d4, but it wasn't enough because the opponent pushed the pawn to a5. The bishop was coming here. She tried to run with her bishop, but then came c5. And before she knew it, she was already lost. The bishop was coming. The pawns are hanging. Oh my goodness. She was at some point -6 in this position. And then from that, she won. She won the game. That was a tenacious effort by her. And with this, the Indian team won 3-1. Now let's go to the B team here, because that is where, now just to give you an idea of where everything is, the B team was sitting here. So the A team is here and the B team is over there. Also a big result, by the way, Norway losing to Italy, Magnus Carlsen unable to win, his team losing. Anish Giri made his debut today at this event and won his game with 4-0. Destruction of Sweden, that was a big one. Now, India too played Switzerland. It's not a weak team. Switzerland had Nico Georgiadis, Sebastian Bogner, Yannick Pelletier, very strong GMs. 4-0 was a bit too much. How did it happen? We first go, Gukesh won on board 1, very clinical victory. Second board, Nihal Sareen playing here. His opponent played the move rook f8 here. And what did Nihal do? Try to pause the video and find out the win for white. So white played e takes f5. Very nice move. Now, if you take on f5, rook f5, this is pinned. So you're going to lose material. So that's why he took the knight. But after fg6, it was already time to resign. The queen is attacked. And if you save it, let's say just a move, then I take here with a check. With the rook coming in, the queen already protecting the pawn. it was all over. Sebastian Bogner resigned and India scored a full point here. Now, big result because already Raunak Sadhwani had won his game. Nihal had won and also Gukesh. Now it was all up to Pragg. He had already, even if he lost, it was fine. But Pragg fought so hard. He was losing from move number 20 almost. And here in this position, what happened was Praggnanandhaa, playing with the black pieces, took the pawn on f4. Now already he's not losing anymore. But Yannick Pelletier was kind of upset that he couldn't win this. And he thought and his time ran out. He was on 0 and Praggnanandhaa won this game as well, giving the team not just 4-0 victory in this match, but an overall 12 wins in 12 games. So these young kids, well, they are something. You have to be careful. Let's go now to this section because there we have the India C team, the third team, and also the women's team. Where to enter? Maybe from there. And first, let's look at the India 2 team for the women's. They are over there. The Indian women's team, the B team, faced a very tough opponent in Indonesia. Now, Indonesia is a bit weird in the sense that their top 2 players are extremely strong, Irene Sukandar and Madina Olia. But the third board is relatively weak, 1800 rated. This was on board number 1, Vantika Agrawal. You know, this young girl from India is leading from the front. She was playing against she was playing against Irene, and Irene here played the move G4. Now, Vantika thought for a bit and she did en passant. She took the pawn and now Rook G1 was on the board. Now, if this pawn is lost, you might very well lose the game because the Rook will double, pressure on G7, Queen will move. So this pawn is important to be saved. Vantika played Knight to H5 and here Irene had to play Queen E2. Attacking the knight, and once this knight is stopped, she can put her queen to f3, preparing knight e2 and winning this pawn. And I think the game would have been extremely complicated. But what did she do? She played the move knight e2 here, trying to win the pawn directly. And Vantika now put her bishop on h4, and now this position, this pawn cannot be won. Black was already better and Vantika won a great game. And actually, she winning on board number 1 set it up. Because on board 2, Padmini Raut drew her game. On board 3, Soumya was drawish in the end but won her game. And on board number 4, Marianne Gomes drew, giving India a 3-1 victory over Indonesia. Let's go to the C group. The C team of India, the third team. And India was facing Iceland. This is the team, Iceland here. And India also won 3-1 in this segment. Ganguly drew on board 1. Sethuraman won. Abhijit Gupta also won. These 2 players in the middle winning their games gave a really big boost to the team. Abhimanyu Puranik drew in the last board. This is Abhijit Gupta here. And Abhijit is playing with the white pieces here. In this position, he took rook takes e5. Now, notice, you can't take here because rook a8 is checkmate, back rank mate. So, his opponent played rook to f8, and now there are many ways to win. One of them is rook e7, but Abhijit finished it off in style. Find the move that finishes off the game, and the hint is back rank mate. Yeah, the move is rook a8. What a nice move, because if you take the rook, rook e8 is a checkmate. And otherwise, if you were to play queen b4, I can take, and rook e8, you lose the queen. In this way, Abhijit Gupta won his game and India got 3-1 victory. Let's go to the final board. India C team in the women's section took on Austria here, and this was a very tense game. What happened was, tense match, because Nandita, who was playing on the second board, her opponent, Polterorer Shiara, did not come to the game. I think she wasn't feeling well. And so she did not. So India got 1 point. But Sahiti Varshini lost her game to Nicola, which means it was 1-1. And then Isha Karawade drew. And then it all boiled down to this last game here, which was between Pratyusha Bodda and Elizabeth Hapala. Pratyusha got a very bad position with black in the opening. She was worse. But then she really played well. And in this position, it's black to play. She put her knight on e2 with a check. Now notice that you cannot take the knight, your rook is hanging. And also, if you move the king on the h file, then you lose a piece on e4. So that's the reason why she played king f1. Now it's a dangerous discovered check, but the queen is attacked. So here, Pratyusha played knight g3, king g1. By the way, it was a double check, check. And here, many thought, oh my god, is it going to end in a draw? But she did not draw. She took on e4, rook e2, queen g6. And this decision to continue the game really helped her team get that full point. And with this, she went on to win the game. And this made a 1.5 victory for India 3 team. This way, all the teams of India won. It was an exciting day. And I'm looking forward to more tomorrow. Let me know in the comments section which is your favorite team and who do you think will continue winning in the next rounds to come. For now, this is Sagar Shah signing off with Aditya, who's shooting all of this. Good night.